Picture this. It's 476 AD. The last Roman emperor is about to get kicked out by some barbarian named Odoacer. Rome is finished. Game over, roll credits. But wait, what if Emperor Romulus Augustulus wasn't a scared teenager? What if he was competent? Our story begins in 475 AD. Young Romulus Augustulus has just become emperor. His dad Orestes is pulling the strings. The barbarian general Odoacer is marching toward Rome with his Germanic troops. In our timeline, Romulus just gave up. But in this timeline, Dad, I have an idea, Romulus says. What now? Orestes sighs. What if we actually tried to save Rome? That's crazy talk, son. No, hear me out. What if we made military service mandatory again? See, Rome had switched to hiring barbarian mercenaries because Romans didn't want to fight anymore. The legions were full of Germanic warriors who cared more about gold than glory. But Romulus had been reading old books. He learned that Rome used to conscript citizens. Everyone served. Everyone had skin in the game. We're bringing back the draft, Romulus announced. You can't do that, his advisors protested. Watch me. Within months, Roman citizens were being dragged kicking and screaming into boot camps. Rich senators' sons found themselves sharing tents with poor farmers. This is outrageous, complained Senator Marcus. My son shouldn't have to sleep in the mud. Your son will learn to love the mud, replied General Flavius. The grizzled veteran Romulus had put in charge of training. When Odoacer arrived at Rome's gates, he expected to find the usual mess. Corrupt officials, unmotivated mercenaries, and a boy emperor hiding behind his daddy. Instead, he found 50,000 angry Roman citizens with spears. What's this? Odoacer asked his lieutenant. Looks like Romans, sir. Actual Romans. But I thought Romans didn't fight anymore? Apparently, they changed their minds. The battle was brutal. But something funny happened. When Romans were fighting for their own homes instead of someone else's paycheck, they fought harder. Odoacer lost, badly. Well, that was unexpected, he said, bleeding in the mud. Romulus wasn't done. He looked at the empire's problems and started fixing them, one by one. Corruption? Death penalty. But sir, taking bribes is tradition, protested a government official. So is crucifixion, Romulus replied cheerfully. Taxes? Streamlined and fair. You mean I can't hide my money in Gaul anymore? Asked a wealthy merchant. Correct. Pay up or join the army. Infrastructure? Massive public works projects using all those new soldiers. I signed up to fight barbarians, not build roads, complained a recruit. Roads help you fight barbarians faster, explained his centurion. Now grab a shovel. By 500 AD, Rome was growing again. The population was increasing. Cities were expanding. Trade was booming. But here's where it gets weird. The mandatory military service created something unexpected. An educated, disciplined population. Every Roman citizen learned to read, write, and do basic math in the army. Why do soldiers need to know mathematics? Asked a confused barbarian prisoner. Because intelligent soldiers win wars, replied his Roman guard, who was solving engineering problems in his spare time. By 600 AD, Roman engineers were building better roads, stronger bridges, and more efficient aqueducts. They had to, because they had more people to support. While Europe was entering the Dark Ages, Rome was having a renaissance 800 years early. Roman scholars preserved Greek and Roman texts. They improved them. They invented new things. Look, I've created a better way to make steel, announced metallurgist Lucius in 650 AD. Great, now our swords will be sharper, said Emperor Constantine VII. Actually, I was thinking about plows. Even better, sharp plows, happy farmers. By 800 AD, while Charlemagne was trying to recreate the Roman Empire, the actual Roman Empire was doing just fine. Thank you very much. So you want to be the new Rome? Emperor Marcus asked Charlemagne's ambassador. Well, yes. But we're still the old Rome. We never left. This is awkward. Here's where history gets really strange. Rome's military tradition created a culture of civic duty. Every citizen served. Every citizen voted. Every citizen mattered. By 1000 AD, Rome had developed something like representative democracy, but with Roman characteristics. I propose we let women vote, suggested Senator Julia in 1054 AD. That's ridiculous, shouted Senator Brutus. My wife commands a century. She can vote, replied General Maximus. This created a feedback loop. Better government led to better policies. Better policies led to more prosperity. More prosperity led to better education. better education led to better government. While medieval Europe was still figuring out crop rotation, Rome was inventing mechanical clocks, advanced metallurgy, and improved siege engines. "I've created a device that tells time using gears," announced inventor Claudius in 1150 AD. "Why?" asked his assistant. "So soldiers can coordinate attacks better. And farmers can plant crops at the right time. And it looks really cool." When the Renaissance hit Europe in the 1400s, Romans were confused. "They're rediscovering classical learning," reported Roman ambassador Felix from Florence. "But we never lost it," replied Emperor Constantine XV. "I know. Should we tell them?" "Nah, let them figure it out." Meanwhile, Roman universities were developing experimental science, advanced mathematics, and early printing presses. While Constantinople and the Byzantines were falling, guess who wasn't? That's right, Rome. When Columbus sailed west in 1492, he found Roman trading posts already there. "How long have you been here?" Columbus asked the Roman merchant. "About 50 years. Nice continent. Lots of gold." But I discovered it." "You discovered that we were here?" "Yes." See, Rome's superior shipbuilding and navigation had led them to the Americas decades earlier. They were already trading with Aztecs and Incas. "Your gods are very violent," observed Roman trader Marcus to an Aztec priest. "Yours aren't?" "Well, yes, but ours don't require quite so much enthusiasm." When Martin Luther nailed his complaints to a church door, Rome was dealing with its own religious issues. The Roman Empire had developed a unique form of Christianity that emphasized civic duty and military service. "Christ was a carpenter," preached Roman Bishop Augustus. "And carpenters build things for the empire," shouted the congregation. This created a religion that was both spiritual and practical. Churches doubled as community centers. Priests were also teachers and engineers. When Luther's ideas reached Rome, they were met with confusion. "So he wants to reform Christianity?" asked Emperor Julian IV. "Yes, Your Majesty. But our Christianity already works fine." That's what I told him. By 1600, Roman universities were centers of learning that rivaled anything in Europe. Roman scientist Galilei, different guy, was studying astronomy, physics, and engineering. "I've improved the design of that telescope thing," he announced. "Excellent," replied his funding committee. "Can it spot enemy armies better?" "Well, yes. But I was thinking more about studying stars. Stars don't invade, focus on armies." This military focus accidentally accelerated scientific development. Every innovation had to have practical applications. While Britain was just figuring out steam engines, Rome had been using them for decades. "I've attached a steam engine to a cart," announced engineer Fabius in 1750. "Why?" asked his supervisor. "To move supplies faster. And it's really loud and scary to enemy horses." The Roman Industrial Revolution was weird because it was centrally planned. The government decided what got invented and how it got used. "We need better ways to make weapons," ordered Emperor Constantine XX. "How about better ways to grow food?" suggested inventor Marcus. "Food doesn't kill barbarians." "Well-fed soldiers kill barbarians better." "Good point. Do both." When American colonists rebelled against Britain, they looked to Rome for inspiration. "We want to create a republic like ancient Rome," declared Thomas Jefferson. "But Rome never stopped being a republic," pointed out Roman ambassador Felix. "What do you mean?" "We still have a senate. We still elect magistrates. We just also have an emperor." "That sounds complicated." "It works for us." The Americans ended up creating a weird hybrid system that borrowed from both Roman traditions and Enlightenment ideas. When Napoleon conquered Europe, he had to deal with an awkward neighbor. "I will create a new Roman Empire," Napoleon declared. "But we're still the old Roman Empire," replied Emperor Marcus VII. "You can't be. You're supposed to be ancient history." We never got the memo. The war between France and Rome was bizarre. Napoleon's armies were used to fighting other European forces. They weren't prepared for Roman legions with rifles and artillery. The Romans pulled out the old Fabian strategy, refusing to fight Napoleon head-on and instead cutting off his massive army's supply lines, just like what the Russians did in 1812 in our timeline. Harassed on all sides, starving, and unable to force a decisive battle, Napoleon was finally forced to retreat, his once invincible army beaten by Roman patience and discipline. Why do they fight in such weird formations? Asked a French general. They're using ancient tactics with modern weapons, replied his scout. Does it work? We're losing, so yes? By 1800, Rome controlled the Mediterranean, had colonies in Africa and the Americas, and was a major industrial power. This created a weird three-way rivalry between Britain, France, and Rome. We control the seas, declared Britain. We control Europe, declared France. We control the cradle of civilization, declared Rome. What does that even mean? Asked everyone else. We're not sure, but it sounds impressive, admitted Rome. When World War I started, Rome was allied with, well, it was complicated. So who are we fighting? Asked Roman General Maximus. Germany and Austria-Hungary, replied the emperor. Why? They're attacking our allies. Who are our allies? Britain, France, and... it's complicated. Roman tactics in World War I were bizarre. They combined ancient formations with modern weapons. Sir, the Romans are advancing in testudo formation, reported a German officer. In what? Turtle formation with machine guns. That shouldn't work. It's working. By World War II, Rome was a major power with advanced technology and a professional military. Mussolini never got into politics because that old Roman Empire he was talking about. Yeah, it's still here. You want to be the new Rome? Asked Emperor Constantine XXV. Yes, I will restore Roman glory, declared Mussolini. But we already have Roman glory. We never lost it. Impossible. Check your history books. The war was surreal. Mussolini kept trying to claim Roman heritage while fighting the actual Romans. This is like watching someone cosplay as themselves, observed a British general. During the Cold War, Rome became the third option. While America and Russia argued about capitalism versus communism, Rome offered imperial republicanism, a system where the government owned key industries but citizens had significant political rights. So you're capitalists? Asked the Americans. We have markets, replied Rome. So you're communists? Asked the Soviets. We have central planning, replied Rome. What are you? Asked everyone. Roman, replied Rome. Today, in 2025, the Roman Empire is still around. It's a federal republic with an elected emperor who serves 10-year terms. The current emperor, Julia Constantine, was elected in 2022. She's a former general and engineer. Your Majesty, how does it feel to rule the oldest continuous government in the world? Asked a reporter. The usual, no big deal, she replied. Rome controls Italy, much of the Balkans indirectly, parts of North Africa, and has a weird colonial relationship with several Caribbean islands. Roman citizens still serve mandatory military service, but now it includes options for civil service, scientific research, or infrastructure development. I spent my service year building bridges in Somalia, explained Marcus, a 25-year-old Roman citizen. Was it meaningful? Asked the interviewer. The bridges work. The Somalis are happy. I learned valuable skills. Yes. So what would the world look like if Rome never fell? Well, we'd have at least one government that actually works. We would probably have advanced faster technologically. We'd definitely have better roads, but most importantly, we'd have a 2,000-year-old bureaucracy that somehow still functions. How do you guys get anything done? Asked a confused American diplomat. Practice, replied the Roman foreign minister. But you've been practicing for 2,000 years. Exactly. We're really good at it now. And that's the story of how one scared teenager deciding to actually try saved the Roman Empire, changed world history, and created the world's most efficient government by accident. There was one empire that had a very efficient government. I wonder what it would be like if China ruled the world.